Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Dan. And today, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon by, of course, talking about something Disney related. Because why not, I guess. I guess to start things off, I want to talk about this guy, I guess, for my Disney stuff, because, boy. He has his own radio show, of course, his own podcast and whatnot. And yes, he's been spoken about before, of course. And yeah, I want to speak about this guy for this video right in the beginning because he has a thing or two to say about Disney as a whole, the corporation and whatnot, something with religion or whatever. Because,
You're on the air. Good morning. We're doing open phones.
Hi, am I on the air?
Yep.
Fuck. Okay, granted, I've made videos like this before, so I'm doing it again, where somebody's going to talk some trash about Disney, simply because it's making a lot of money, and the fact that they're not making Christian films, at least not in the way that they're doing it, and not at least in the way that they want it to be done. I mean, there's already a ton of Christian movies. You can easily list off 100, 200 Christian films right off the bat. You can easily just make this entire film about so many Christian films that's been released in the past 20 years. And that's a lot of them right there. Christians already have a truck ton of films being made about their belief. But somehow, that's not even enough. They want literally everything to related to their programming. And if something or someone goes outside their said programming, it's somehow criminal. Which is, of course, extremely close-minded, because if anything, this just comes off as fascism, if anything, because they want everybody to conform to the exact same way. But alright, enough with that. Let's just dive right in, shall we, and just hear what this guy has to say about Disney and whatnot.
It's Friday, March 3rd, 2017 AD. This is the World View in 5 minutes. I'm Adam McManus. Attorney General Jeff Sessions is in hot water.
Can you just get on with it? And I know a lot of you Christians tend to talk about some trivial nonsense or stuff, and it takes a while to get to the point. So can we just cut to the chase here, please, for once?
After meeting with the Russian ambassador last year, and apparently he failed to make note of it during his Senate confirmation hearings.
Funny that you would bring that up, but never mind the fact that there's a possible theory going on surfing around the web, and the news too, of course, and newspapers and whatnot, where they explain that there's a solid chance where Donald Trump had made some sort of deal with the Russian government, Putin or whatever his name is, to help him win the election. I mean, okay, it's a bit of a stretch when you think about it, but you don't want to bring that up because it's going to make you Christians look bad. But, of course, you don't mind making everyone else look bad. But, okay, go on.
He has now recused himself from any investigation into the Russian intervention in the American election.
I have now decided to recuse myself from any existing or future investigations of any matter relating in any way.
I won't necessarily want to agree to that, but yes, it does make the person seem a bit suspicious when suddenly he's accused of a certain thing. He suddenly wants to bail out. I mean, yes, I don't want to go into too much conspiracy theory here, but yeah, that or there does sound rather odd. That doesn't mean you have proof of anything, but still, really.
Campaigns for President of the United States.
But calls by Democrats for his resignation continue to come forthwith. Meanwhile, a missionary from
if that's true, that actually sounds pretty reasonable, because even if the United States might be friendly to certain countries like Japan and whatnot, they're not supposed to, the president is not supposed to get any assistance in the election from any country ever at all, because it's supposed to work within the United States and nobody else. But whatever.
Catholic Reformation Society, Blake Purcell, tells the Worldview,
What is it with you Christians and this obsession with Satan? I never understood that. And of course, you don't call the liberals, the Democrats, a bunch of Satanists because they're not doing the Christian thing, at least not in the way that you're doing it. Which is stupid because they don't have to conform in the same kind of Christians in the way you're doing it. I mean, yes, liberals and Democrats can be Christians, but they don't have to do it in the same way that you're doing it. Give me a break here. That's really stupid. I don't know what I want to say about that. Yeah. The one finger salute. There you go. Ha ha ha.
there are big gains for the gospel going on in Russia and the 1040 window.
What gives me joy in working with all the peoples in the Russian world,
Realize that Russia is a communist country, right? But then a lot of you Christians would turn around and claim that Disney is communist just for allowing the homosexuals to attend their theme parks. So what the hell? I mean, okay, granted, even if you want to argue the fact that the communism in Russia is nowhere near as bad as it was, despite that either or, you're not supposed to make friends to help you in the election. You're not supposed to get any kind of assistance specifically just for that. But funny how Christians don't want to deny that fact as long as it's benefiting them. Isn't that like cheating in some ways? Y'all don't seem to mind cheating, even if cheating is described as a sin in the Bible. Of course, knowing this, there's actual proof. There's proof in the pudding, as they would say. You cut your hand in the cookie jar, so to speak. But even then, a lot of Christians won't deny the truth, even though the truth is right there out in the open. So yeah, just a form of denial. You realize fibbing is actually a sin in the Bible too, and denying is also a sin as well. There's proof right there.
is to see folks, for instance, down in Uzbekistan, a Muslim-dominated country. We have seen some of our graduates and men that have recently been studying in the seminary.
Okay, I don't see what any of this has to do with Disney, but okay. Why you gotta try to talk Muslims? You realize not every single Muslim is a crook. But anyway, the thing is that you're guilty of doing the same thing anyway. Trying to have some sort of control state just for their personal belief system, and everyone else is the bad guy, blah, 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 blah. You Christians do the same thing. Do you see not the irony in this? Yeah, you guys are a bunch of hypocrites. It's okay for you to do it, but not nobody else.
We're seeing whole families come to Christ.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You're trying to make it as if the only way you can be a good person and live a great life is a Christian. But if a Middle Eastern wants to live as a Muslim, that's perfectly fine. I mean, granted, sure, you don't have to be a Middle Eastern to be a Muslim. That's a stereotype right there. But if anything, you're the one who wants a police state. And it's okay if you're, again, hypocritical. It's okay for you to have it, but not nobody else. Oh, yeah.
And one man's father the son led his father to Christ.
And you're just proving I'm correct. You're acting as if that the only way you can have a rich, meaningful life if you're Christian. That seems mighty ignorant of you. Isn't that like a sin in the Bible? Been really, really arrogant? That's how you're coming off. Really arrogant and ignorant in a lot of ways. Those two things are considered a sin in your own Bible, yet you're doing it. Besides that, you guys are doing the exact same thing when you think about it, but okay, whatever.
Mullah there locally came and said, well, somebody else asked the mullah to bless the neighborhood, and one of the older women in the neighborhood says, we have these apostate Muslims in our neighborhood. Can you bless the neighborhood with apostate Muslims in there? Because these Muslims had come to Christ.
Well, that's a fact error right there, because there's no such thing as apostate Muslim. I mean, yes, there's different fractions. There's different, Christians who believe in the same thing. Just like how there's multiple versions of Christianity, you can say the same thing with Muslims. They have their own thing going on, maybe with this group of Muslims compared to the other group of Muslims and whatnot. But can you just wrap it up? I don't see what any of this has to do with anything, really, but okay. Just wrap it up, will you?
And the mullah said, of course I cannot.
Of course, Christians like you are trying to make everyone else look like a bunch of assholes for not agreeing with you. Isn't that kind of thing also mentioned in the Bible they shouldn't do? Spreading lies and whatnot? You know it's a lie, but you can spread it around anyway? If not that, you're just trying to demonize the person. Demonizing is like a sin as well, right? Because that's considered a negative thing. So, how can you say that everybody should be a Christian when you're not really following the rules either, really? What?
The grandmother came and told the whole family of our seminary student.
Who are you talking about? What family? What grandmother? Okay, no one before this point you brought up. Not like that anyway, so who is this individual or individuals you're referring to? So it's just coming off, you're just making stuff up on the fly or whatever, just trying to make it seem like you have a point, like you Christians are being attacked somehow, but in reality, you're the one who's attacking everyone else, really.
They told the whole family that they have to get out.
Right, of course, you're the hero. You're the good guy. You're Superman. You're Wonder Woman. You're trying to get people out of that place because, oh, the Mino Muslim nation, their government, is oppressing Christians. That's bullshit. When you think about it, that's what you're doing. You're the one that's oppressing everybody. You're the oppressors when you think about it. But, okay. Now, let's just say, even if they were oppressing Christians, you Christians are no better at all. According to the Spanish Empire, they were sent to conquer the lands, kill people, and of course, force people into their way of life because, oh God, that's all, and whatnot. They murdered far more native Indians from this land, a lot more than what Columbus could ever do. And of course, in a lot of ways, when you think about it, they are responsible for a lot of things like that because when you think about it, they want everybody to follow the Christian path, and if you don't, you're viewed as a traitor. Of course, none of their crimes will actually be brought up by Christians because doing this kind of a thing would make Christians look bad, of course. And also, they actually attempted to kick out every single Muslim and Jewish person that they come across. Of course, we're from the Spanish Empire, folks. They don't want no one else who didn't believe in the exact same thing that they believed in. Because they believed that they were high and mighty just because of that. Oh, it's the righteous duty to do so. So, of course, which again makes them seem rather really arrogant in a lot of ways, which I have to bring up the fact again that comes off really, really bad because this is actually something from the Bible it fights against. In the Bible, it says that you shouldn't be arrogant like that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it being happy in its own way, sure, but still. This just goes against the whole notion of you're supposed to be a good person, right? You shouldn't be arrogant, you shouldn't be lying and whatnot. And this also reminds me of the whole thing with the Ottoman Empire as well, because it was basically the whole Muslim thing, but in reverse as well. When you think about it, they have done some stuff similar as well. Of course, mind you, I'm not saying every Muslim is going to act like this, okay? Just throwing that out there. I'm not saying every Muslim has done this kind of thing. But anyway, point being is that when this was around, they basically did the exact same thing what the Christians had done. Okay, maybe not as bad, but still pretty bad. People of different faiths, like the Jewish people and the Christians, could live in their land, but they basically had zero rights at all. Like, almost none. At the very least, almost none, really. When it comes to, like, owning businesses, owning land and whatnot, so it was practically non-existent, almost. I mean, okay, to be more exact, they were allowed, people of different belief systems were allowed to have different faith, sure, but it was heavily taxed. So it's like almost as if as though you shouldn't have it to begin with, I guess you can say, because they were watched over like a hawk in so many different ways. But this kind of thing could have easily been its own separate video, of course, but I'm not going to dive too much into this because there's still the other bits I have to go through. But point being is that what they did came off very similar to what the Spanish Empire, because both of these things said, "Oh, God told me to." Yeah, the Roman Empire, of course, also believed in, oh, the God Almighty and whatnot. And of course, they had their own part of land, of course, when they wiped out the Christians. Okay, not the Christians, but the Catholic faith. The people who owned some part of land to begin with. So they had their own political thing going on, obviously. So yeah, the Roman Empire pretty much did the exact same thing as well. Wiped out a certain group of people, of course. And yeah, my point being, not that I'm trying to, turn it into like a history kind of a thing, but when it comes to religion and politics, but I have to bring this up considering the fact, what I just said a moment ago, a lot of these religious people are doing the exact same thing, but then turn around and claim that the other side is lying, so pretty much pointing fingers. No, it's you doing it. No, you're 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 doing it. The whole thing with the Ottoman Empire that I was saying a moment ago, they wiped out the Catholics, of course, and they rose into power in a lot of ways. And they have their own thing going on, of course, when it comes to politics, when it comes to the government and whatnot. They wanted the system to be helping them out. But point being is that, like I just said, everybody, when it comes to the religious extremists just are in it for themselves, really. And they just want to murder, and they just want to kill off anybody who disagrees with them. Whatever happened to thou shalt not kill?
Purcell said that one Christian family was told that they had to leave the neighborhood.
I highly doubt that, because not every single Muslim out there is going to be hostile towards Christians. Do I have to mention the Spanish Empire again? The Spanish Empire was extremely hostile to non-believers. And even if you're a Christian, there's still a good chance it might be hostile towards you, because you have to practice their religion in their specific way. Kind of like how a lot of you Christians are doing right now. Oh boy. You guys are guilty for doing the same thing anyway when you think about it, so it doesn't make any sense at all.
Or deny Christ.
They do believe in Jesus, just not in the same sense like you would as the prophet. They don't believe in that kind of thing. But a lot of the religious text comes off awfully similar to Christians anyway. Translate Allah into English, it basically translates to God. The Jewish people believe in the Bible. Okay, not the same version, obviously, but same thing with the Mormons, the Baptist Church, the so on and so forth. Even the Jehovah's Witnesses have their own version of the Bible. So there's many different versions of the same thing.
So the father said, well, we would rather live on the street with Jesus.
And I find that highly questionable. So yes, I doubt that as well. Again, you're trying to make it as if like you Christians are the heroes here. You're trying to paint the pictures that you Christians are being discriminated against. And when you think about it, the Christians discriminate against the homosexuals, because a lot of them, there's a lot of Christian family households that actually kicked out a homosexual just for being gay. Like, you guys are no better. Again, what the hell? People, regardless of their age, don't just come up with some sort of crazy conspiracy theory that they were up to something. And of course, all that sounds bogus. And this is supposed to make me believe that it's an all-loving God as helping people out. This sounds like the exact opposite, if anything. And again, when you think about even the Roman Empire, when they were taken over by Christians, that is, were doing the same thing to all the homosexuals. The Roman Empire was discriminated against people of a different faith as well, when you think about it. Fun fact, okay, not so fun fact really, but the Spanish Empire actually really discriminated against hermaphrodites just because they look different than what they believe to be the traditional woman, which of course is wrong. And of course they were attacked really effeminate men as well, because again they look different from the traditional guy as well. Yeah, okay, it's pretty much for the entire LGBT as a whole, really, even a bit technical here. But you still get my point of what I'm saying here. But okay, let's try to wrap things up, folks.
Then live in our home without Jesus. That was his answer.
Crying out loud. You Christians are just as bad as the extremists. And of course, I'm not going to say every single Christian, obviously, but the Christian extremists are no different from the other extremists of any other religion. You guys are guilty of doing the exact same thing. How you're not this self-aware? Well, some Christians will be aware of that, but they just want to, cover the truth, which of course is wrong and really manipulative when you think about it. Can we get to the Disney bit already? You said in your podcast thing you're going to talk about it, so we're never going to get to it. It seems to be going all over the place. That's definitely something I noticed with a lot of these Christians. They can't stay on topic, like, at all. So can we get to it already? I mean, please, for the love of all things holy. Come on, let's get to it already. I want to talk about Disney. That's like the whole reason I'm making this video. So let's get to it, I guess. Come on.
One of the things that is just amazing to see is the power of Christ and the power of God against such great odds.
Just stroking your own ego. That's what you're doing. Stroking your own ego. Doesn't it someone say in the Bible that you shouldn't be doing that? Like, at all? Yet you keep continuously doing it. Oh, okay.
These completely unreached people groups.
Planned Parenthood CEO Cecile Richards is worried about the 130 prayer vigils going on outside of 130 Planned Parenthood abortion mills.
We just stay on one topic here. I mean, well, it's going all over the place. Okay, that aside, you really trying to oppress a woman what they can and can't do with their own bodies? I mean, this is a subject matter I don't want to talk about, but are you going to bring it up? Really? Come on.
During the 40 days for life, there is spiritual warfare out there on the sidewalks, and prayer is the weapon of choice for those who are for life.
That's a lie. There's no spiritual warfare and whatnot. And if prayer is so powerful like you claim it to be, well, can't you just pray the homeless away, pray the corruption away, pray the evilness away? And let me see, what else is there? Oh, crime, pray that away. If it's so easy and powerful, just do it. Oh yeah, pray hunger away, pray cancer away. Oh, this whole coronavirus thing, pray that away. Literally, do it right now. Seriously, now, do it now. Go ahead, do it this very second. If it's so powerful, pray it away. Any groups that's being oppressed here, it'll be women and the LGBT community. If there's anybody that's doing any oppression to any groups, it's the Christians. And of course, the Catholic people are guilty of doing this too, but that kind of depends what you're talking about. Same with the Mormons and definitely the Jehovah's Witnesses. They oppress those who don't agree with them. So, yeah, you Christians are not oppressed here. Obviously, you're not. Don't kid yourself here.
Find a prayer vigil near you at 40daysforlife.com. That's the number 40, daysforlife.com. A new study from Pew Research projects that Islam will be the world's largest religion by 2070.
Again, I highly doubt that. I keep saying that. I doubt it. 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 What study are you talking about? There's no study that's actually suggesting that. If anything, if there's a religious faith that's the majority in America, it's Christians. It's the Christian faith that's the vast majority. I mean, okay, not really in Japan, really, at all. But still, if there's a big religious group of people, it's you Christians. Give me a break here. You're not making any sense again.
The study claims that Islam will increase by 70%, while Christianity will grow by 35%.
A lie right there, because religion as a whole, especially with Christians, is on a decline in recent years. And by the looks of it, he's going to keep doing that, especially with the millennial generation. So, yeah, you got your facts wrong there. At the very least, you're just manipulating the facts to make it as if that you have a point. Is it manipulation, dishonesty? And that's considered a sin of the Bible, when you think about it. But, yeah, whatever. E.W. Jackson is an individual who I've brought up before and bring up him here again. He's claiming that the Jesus has been spit upon just for supporting the homosexuals, which of course is a lie because that seems like a big thing that seems to be made up. But of course, he's trying to speak the truth, like the poor Jesus and poor Christians, all the individuals who are being attacked here.
Gets into life. These two clowns running for U.S. Senate down there are both pro-abortion. The Bible speaks of marriage. These two clowns down there are both big LGBTQ advocates. Okay? The Bible makes clear the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. And these two are both imbued with Marxist ideology. Of course, I'm opposed to them. Of course, I don't want them to go to the U.S. Senate. Not only this, you say, well, you're not from Georgia. Yeah, but this is...
Yo, like I just said earlier, there's many Christians like him that do believe that if you're gay, or at the very least, supportive of gays, you're nothing more than a communist. Nothing more than a criminal, really. And the thing is that you can't be gay and believe in God at the same time. He's acting as though those two things are impossible to be together, which is a lie. It's just nothing more than scare tactic, but let's go back to what the other guy.
The biggest factor in Muslim growth? Muslim families are having more children than any other religious demographic.
It's a lie. I mean, okay, of course, Muslims want to have a bunch of kids, sure, but that doesn't mean they're doing it out of spite to go against Christians. And that seems also it's also hypocritical anyway, because a lot of you Christians and Catholics also want to have like a shit ton of kids out of spite. So you're no better anyway. A woman has a period and then, everything is washed away. Isn't that in itself just killing potential babies because of the whole body functions and whatnot? When you think about it, you don't bring that up. When some of the eggs of a woman get flushed out as a result of this. And when you think about it, that means she potentially killed somebody right there. Even view abortion as murder, but you don't bring that up. So you just coming off, you just want to cherry pick on certain things they want to argue about. This, of course, will apply to the men. So if somebody wants to pretty much wax their carriage to an image of honor such as this, or maybe do the same thing with the image of Elsa in this kind of a way. So if somebody wants to play themselves, look at images such as this, then why don't you consider them as mass murderers? Because that semen that comes out of there is potential babies, right? And when you think about it, semen can't stay in your ball sack for too long anyway. So, and that's the thing. Semen would eventually die to begin with, which is why what you have in between your legs does get bigger and bigger as a result, because those things eventually die to begin with. So again, I have to say that it just comes off to just picking and choosing that they want to argue with. And if you notice, it's a man talking about this, not a woman.
This is a national matter. As you go to the U.S. Senate, you have an impact on the entire country.
Why a lot of you Christians want to control the American government. Of course, primarily men. You don't want no women to have any power of any kind. It seems obviously sexist when you think about it, but whatever.
They don't need to be there.
And you don't want any women to be a part of the Senate either. Or the gays, especially if a female looks rather attractive. Because, I mean, yeah, it's going to have potential mates, sure, but you don't want anybody to be a part of your group like that.
So I've been working hard on that. So you all pray for me that...
Instead, I'm going to pray hard that you would fail instead.
Be successful in alerting, awakening black Christian voters in Georgia.
Ha ha, you fucking dumbass.
Oh, yes, he's still under the notion that black people are being oppressed. What are you talking about? I'm awfully hypocritical because he's perfectly fine with oppressing the gays, lesbians, bisexuals, and of course, women. You don't mind oppressing those groups. Oh yeah, and the non-believers, like the atheists and whatnot, you oppress them. Of course, he's also oppressing those who are not the same faith. You think about it, now who's oppressing who? All he's doing is trying to twist things around. Oh boy. I need to wrap this up. This is going off way too long as it is.
Of just how evil the two candidates are that are running
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
for the Democrat Party. And if you vote for them, you just might as well vote against God, because that's what it boils down to.
My God, this dude is... He's trying my patience, folks. He is trying my patience right here. Okay. The liberals and the Democrats, at least some of them anyway, do believe in God. Same thing with the gays. Some of them do believe in God too. And if they don't, so what? You just want to act like so you're acting as if like America's like a big boys club and no one else is invited.
If you vote for Warnock or Ossoff and you claim to be a Christian,
Newsflash: America is not a Christian nation. It shouldn't, and it would never will be. You moron.
you really just might as well spit in Jesus' face.
And you guys are complaining about people from the Middle East acting the same exact way like you. Again, like I said earlier, the religious extremists are acting just the same like you guys. You're no different at all.
Because they both have done that.
That's where his little video ends there. What have they done? I don't know. Did you mean conspiracy against God? What does that mean? I don't know. Yeah, I know he made that as a metaphor, spitting in Jesus' face, but still. And then Christians like him and the other guy I was talking about, which I'll get to in a moment, are complaining about Muslims from the Middle East for doing the exact same thing. They are no different. That's the point I'm trying to get across. These Christians are no different than the Muslim extremists. I'm not saying every single Muslim is an extremist, and I'm not saying every single Christian is an extremist. I'm just pointing out, these individuals like this are behaving no different. Yeah. You just want to have full control. Well, okay, Christians. You want Christians to have complete control over the American government, which it shouldn't, because that come off more of a fascist state than a capitalist one. But point being, stuff like this is why wars start. And then on top of that, they're trying to act as if that everyone else is a bully. Do you see the irony in this? Christians like him are the actual bully, who's bullying everyone else, really, when you think about it. Whatever.
The evangelical birth rate in America has fallen to 2.3, compared to a Muslim birth rate of 2.8. A leaked draft of the Obamacare replacement bill is causing heartburn for conservatives.
And how would you know that? I just asked you, how would you know that? Based on what statistics? Based on what research? Based on what article? And I would even question the source that you're reading that out from. And another thing is, so what? And in China, there's like their birth rate is out of control, which is why the government wants to step in and have do something about it. Don't bring that up. Half of China's communist, like just kind of like how South Korea and North Korea there is split down the middle, so to speak. The same thing can be said over here in China, but there seems to be like a birth rate thing going on there. And like I asked earlier, let's get to the Disney bit. What does any of this have to do with Disney? Again, you said it on your thing that you didn't get to it. So let's get to it. Come on. What's the hold up? You're just going all over the place, really, when you think about it. So let's get to it. Hop. Come on.
Who are lining up to oppose the Republican moderates in the House of Representatives.
And what's the problem with that? That's why a lot of people think a lot of you Christians are assholes. Yeah, I know, I keep cussing this. I'm going to have to age restrict this anyway because he brought up abortion. But still, you are doing the very thing that you are complaining about. You complain about everyone else controlling Christians, and then you're going to have Christians control everyone else. See? Makes it hypocritical. You're doing the very thing that you are complaining about. Come on.
The word in Washington is that the Obamacare debates will re-engage in Congress sometime next week. Disney is crossing another moral barrier.
Well, okay, it's about time it got to Disney. It took long enough. And okay, I did not agree with everything Obama had done, but I do prefer him over Trump any day of the week. That's for sure. And Bush. But anyway, okay, you're gonna really take stabs at him as well? No wonder a lot of people get pissed off at you, and you wonder why that would happen. It's because of shit like this. Shit about everyone pretty much, and then you wonder why you have so many fucking enemies. I mean, holy hell. And all in one of my videos, before you guys talk trash about pagans, goth people, atheists, you name it. Yes, even women. Oh boy, let's just finish this.
With the release of Beauty and the Beast on March 17th, it contains the first explicitly homosexual scene in a children's movie.
The live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast is definitely one of the worst films I've ever seen. But it's not for the same reasons as he's saying. And of course, he's going to bring up the argument, oh, somebody please think of the children. Jeez Louise, you guys seem to love pedophilia quite a bit. But okay, anyway, this puts me in an awkward position because I'm defending that film. It's so bad. It's so bad. But anyway, there's no explicit homosexuality in it. And on top of that, homosexuals are not interested in having sex with kids. Straight people have done that, but you don't see me blaming all of them. Already discussed this already. Pedophilia is not a gender nor sexual orientation. You dumb fuck! The Jehovah's Witnesses are known for being touchy-feely with the little kids. Funny how you don't bring that up, and if you do, I'm pretty sure you're going to say it's the lesbian demon or the gay demon that's putting its lust powers all over the... This entire thing sounds really ridiculous. It's funny in some ways.
To take place between characters LeFou and Gaston. In an interview with Attitude magazine, director Bill Condon called it, quote, really subtle and delicious, unquote.
I've seen the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast just once, and even then that was too much. But there's no hints of homosexuality at all. I mean, the character he's referring to is that sidekick character, and he's supposed to be over the top. He was over the top like he was in the original film. In both versions of the story, that sidekick character was really, really over the top. Just because he's over the top doesn't mean the character himself is homosexual at all. And even if he was, so what? Big deal. By the way, folks, Kevin Swanson is actually friends with this guy. So, yeah, there's that. Yeah, if the whole 5 minutes of worldview news or whatever you call it seems familiar, that's the thing he does on his podcast. And, yeah, these two individuals share the same view of homosexuality and the whole anti-Disney thing. Because, oh no, the gays are up to no good somehow. Blah, 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 blah. Because of Disney and witchcraft and all that shit. But anyway, so, just want to bring that up for real quick, so... Yeah, let's just try our best to get this over with, because this entire thing is just nonsensical in so many different ways. It's just really stupid.
Isaiah 5:20 says, woe to those who call evil good and good evil.
What you're doing is demonizing some group of people, and I bet you haven't really met a homosexual ever in your life. You're just going by word of mouth. And also, just because they're of the same gender, romantically, doesn't mean they're automatically evil. It depends on what they've done as a person. And you still haven't spoken about the movie yet. Beauty and the Beast remake? Yeah, it's bad. But enough for the reason you're saying. Go on.
Put darkness for light, and light for darkness.
Again, you just demonizing the people. And who they sleep with is none of your business anyway. What are you getting at?
Who put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter. And a 19-year-old young man working for UPS in Alabama is the owner of a new Jeep Cherokee.
Oh, ain't that so? Here's the characters from Overwatch touching the bums with the one lady. And then there's Harley Quinn right there with the mallet. And then, let me see, there's one woman dressed up as Elsa. Let me see what else. Oh, fast car. And then there's also this building in Sweden, I think. And then, I guess Gamera destroyed it because there was some monsters in there. And then there's Godzilla for some reason. And then, unlike, let me see what else. Oh, Sailor Moon came into the picture. And then there was also the one lady from that one show, Big Comfy Couch. She said hello to me. And then there's this picture of Sarah kissing another woman. Oh yeah, and there was also the soup I had last night. That was delicious. Oh, here's Harley Quinn again, I guess. And then there's this truck. It's white, I guess. And then there's Wednesday, because why not? Yeah, this entire thing is so random out of place. I don't care. It's so incoherent too when you think about it. Alright. It's bullshit, I tell you.
His co-workers bought him the car when they found out he was using his $12 per hour job to provide for his ailing mother and walking 10 miles a day to and from the job site. According to the Daily Mail, the staff at UPS pooled their funds for a car which should cut his 2-hour commute at 4 o'clock in the morning to 10 minutes.
That seems manipulative because it is. He's trying to use the manipulation, emotionally speaking, of course, to make it seem like, oh, us Christians are not so bad. Again, don't you think manipulation is a sin? Alright, this next segment I want to bring up real quick as well, folks, from the same person. And, yeah. Yes, it's from the same individual, of course. And, yeah, trying to talk down about Disney for some stupid, ridiculous reason. And I'm going to be giving my response to that. And just figured I would just do this because I'm still doing my Disney stuff, of course. And I do have to thank anybody for watching this video because I know this video is pretty long. It's a very lengthy video, folks. I know the vast majority of my Disney-related videos so far in this Disney-thon have been pretty lengthy. I mean, like they weren't before, sure, but this thon has definitely a lot of long videos, of course. But anyway, I just want to get that out there. Thank you for anyone for watching this because it's nearly an hour. Because the thing is, I have a lot to talk. I do talk quite a bit, folks, of course. But anyway, it's because of morons like this individual. It's why I want to make these types of videos over and over again. And it's my way just trying to expose the ignorance of a lot of people, even though it's like Kevin Swanson and whoever else, of course. And yeah, so yeah, it just seems really arrogant of them to think that their way of life is the only way. Individuals will, of course, would attack like the alternative cultural lives, like the goth culture and whatnot. I mean, it's technically a subculture, but still. And cyber goth as well, cyberpunk or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm talking about. And yeah, and people would actually believe that people like this would be a good representation of Americans being ignorant and whatnot. I mean, you shouldn't believe in that. That's a stereotype. But anyway, moving on. Let's just trying to continue and finish this mess up, folks. This video is very long as it is. But anyway.
6 years ago, after the mainline Episcopal Church ordained an openly practicing homosexual bishop.
It's not like playing volleyball or any kind of sport or practicing homosexuality. You wanted it weird. And again, so what? If Christians want to be open-minded, let them be. They have to educate themselves somehow. Besides that, it's none of your business anyway. Okay, he's doing that. There's a bishop that's a homosexual. Whoop-de-doo. And so what? It's not your business, it's not your business, it's not your business, it's not your business.
90% of the Falls Church congregation.
Right, the way that they're doing the Christian stuff, it's fake, but not yours. You realize there's multiple different versions of the same book, right? So there's a good chance that you got the fake one. You guys were complaining about the Muslims earlier. So, yeah. What the hell? Seriously, what the hell? I support the homosexual LGBT community. If that's your problem, deal with it. Because I ain't changing my mind either. It's perfectly normal. These are just a group of people who want to live their lives. That's it. Just like everyone else, they just want to live their everyday lives. Come on.
Voted to break with the denomination and align with the conservative branch of the Worldwide Anglican Church, reported the Gospel Coalition. It was the Anglican congregation's firm stance on the authority of God's Word.
In other words, if you don't worship God the way He's doing it, you're going to be forced to do so, because it's God's authority to do so. Okay, you can't force somebody to like you, you know. What this reminds me of? Well, okay, I'll show you what it reminds me of.
Well, then they should be made to.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when he said that part of the segment there, folks. So, if you don't agree with me, then you should be made to. Okay, that sounds really ridiculous. It comes off like a fascist state when you think about it. So that's what Christians want. But then they're going to complain about the homosexuals for doing just that. Again, what the actual hell?
The moral wrong of homosexuality.
Nothing wrong with it. I mean, absolutely nothing. You have not provided any evidence at all to back up that claim. But okay, proceed.
Cost the 4,000-member church nearly everything they owned. Not only did Falls Church lose their church building, staff offices, prayer books, sound equipment, and the rectory that had housed...
I don't think that actually happened. But even if I don't give you the benefit of the doubt and say that, okay, maybe it may have happened, but even then, it still doesn't give you the right to talk shit about some other group of people. Okay, shit happens.
The pastor and his wife for 33 years, but a whopping $2.8 million that was in the church accounts at the time of the split. Sadly, the Episcopal Church, which kicked out its congregation, and where George Washington once worshipped.
Basically, why bother being gay? Because, A, no one's going to like you. Another thing, he's claiming that homosexuals are thieves. When it comes to the whole George Washington, how do you know that he won't like the gays? And he's also implying that this is a Christian nation. Oh boy, here's a subject matter I keep repeating over and over again, since I brought this up in previous videos. This is not a Christian nation, and it should never be. Alright, referring to what I spoken about way earlier in the video, people like him are complaining about the Muslims for making a religious state, but that's exactly what Christians want. They want the same thing, have a religious state for themselves, you hypocrite.
Now belongs to the denomination that accepts and condones practices that would have scandalized the Founding Father. And more importantly...
So we're going to ignore the fact that the slavery was actually legal at some point? We just ignore that? Are you going to claim that homosexuals are going to destroy America before it was even made? Back then, if it was discovered? Oh, okay, that doesn't make any sense, but okay. Washington was not a founding father who was going to support the whole Bible thing. I mean, he eventually let the slaves go, sure, but... Alright, right. Speaking of which, the Bible actually supports slavery of a certain group of people. Like this. Yeah, that was actually allowed, and they were actually exploited because, oh, God said so. Oh, it's the righteous way to go. Which is finally really moronic that this guy, the one I mentioned earlier, will actually support the same Bible.
Isn't it?
As mentioned a moment ago, yes, I know there were slaves around that time, but like I just said, they were eventually let go, sure. But still, you're going to just ignore all of that? Oh, okay. Okay, sure, it took until this whole thing with the Civil War for it to occur, for more rights and whatnot. Well, I guess better late than never, I suppose. But still, though, come on. We'll really worry about basically their income, so to speak. If the slaves were free, they might not get out that much money, if at all. But okay, they really ruined they're basically their income would have been just gone when you think about it. But okay, aside from that. But again, you would just ignore all of that? You're just not going to bring that up at all? But, oh yeah, let's worry about the homosexuals, okay? Oh, the homosexuals, they're going to ruin everything. Okay. Then the Southerners will worry about their lives being ruined, when you think about it. But in reality, it was the Catholics who were basically trying to ruin everybody's lives, not the gays. Catholics who were tearing the country apart, not the homosexuals. At all. And this bullshit still continues. Oh boy, can you believe that? Also, you should not be obligated to help somebody. You should not be forced. I'm not saying to not help nobody ever at all. I'm not saying that. Because I'm not a pessimist. But also, it should be genuine. It should be felt like you want to do it. Like you feel like doing it. It should never be forced ever. Like at all. Oh boy. Yeah, this became like a history lesson again, isn't it? Oh, anyway. Hitler himself had his own belief system because he was considered as a Catholic. And yeah, he lied and manipulated his way through the political power. Again, funny how y'all don't bring this up ever at all. And he was a racist.
Our Heavenly Father, noted thegospelcoalition.org. And finally, a 6-year-old boy named Jermaine Bell from South Carolina used the money he had saved for a trip to Disney World to help Hurricane Dorian evacuees.
Yeah. Clearly, you're going to bring up one of their theme parks. You realize that the homosexuals can actually get married there and hang out. There was this thing called Gay Day, which is perfectly fine. If that's how they want to do their things, that's perfectly normal. From a standpoint of the free market, it does make sense for Disney to do this because they have to make money. And, you know, Barack Obama was there when he was the president. And, of course, they have to be willing to do it on their own, of course. And they have volunteered to do so, so I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Offering food, water, and prayers to those fleeing the deadly storm.
So this boy, whom I assume is supposed to be from one of your churches, oh, it's okay to be an asshole as long as you do nice things from time to time. You realize that you can be gay and be a nice guy at the same time. All this dude is trying to do is trying to make as if that, oh, Christians are not just bad people. They're really sweet and kind of bullshit. I don't see what you're doing here. You're trying to make it seem like Christians aren't so bad. I see what you're doing here. Whatever.
The Christian Post.
The people that are traveling to go to other places, I wanted them to have some food to eat.
Bunch of lowlifes. Seriously? Yes, they're using an actual kid for their podcast. Well, his podcast anyway, for this little segment here. And this seems manipulative. Hey, kids are supposed to be pure, kids are supposed to be sweet and innocent, yada yada, you know, all that. So, oh yeah, if a kid is doing this, a kid from a Christian church is doing this, oh, then it must be the truth. Jesus must just be happy. Oh, get out of here. This seems highly manipulative. Really, really manipulative. And you wonder why a lot of people will actually leave the church. Stuff like this. This is why. Oh boy, folks. Okay, I'm almost done with this video. I mean, I'm getting tired of this negativity. I really am, even though I'm making quite a few of these videos already. Alright, come on, let's wrap things up. Because this entire thing's asinine. Anyway.
Who celebrated his 7th birthday yesterday, used money he saved for a birthday trip to Disney World's Animal Kingdom to buy hundreds of hot dogs, chips, and water for people who were leaving their homes ahead of the storm.
And this comes off highly manipulative. Oh, if you support gays, then you're against kids, you're against good values, or you're against the niceness, the good things of the world. Again, he's just trying to twist things around, make it as if Disney is bad and the homosexuals are bad because somehow they're evil. You're not providing any evidence to back up your claim. You know you have no point when you're doing that.
ABC affiliate WJBF. Jermaine stood on the highway holding 2 handcrafted signs to get the attention of people driving out of the city. In just one day, he served 100 evacuees.
I wanted to be generous and live to give.
Acts 20, verse 35 reminds us.
This seems a bit of a repeat of what was said a moment ago. He's trying to point out, oh, look at this Christian kid. He's really young. He's under the age of 10, but he's doing all these brave, noble things. Ain't he brave? Ain't he courageous? Yada, yada, yada. Again, trying to paint the picture that if you support Disney and if you support the homosexuals, then you're against this kind of a thing. You realize you can be good and gay at the same time, right? Oh, boy.
That it is more blessed to give than to receive. And that's the worldview in 5 minutes.
Nothing of what you just said made any sense. You're trying to make it seem like the only good people in the entire world is Christians. Oh, they have the perfect lives. They're wealthy spiritual anyway. And to have the perfect life, the more meaningful life, if you're Christian and you have to be religious to be good. That doesn't make any sense considering the fact that isn't God supposed to have this unconditional love? That's like the exact opposite of what you're doing here. But okay, you seem to be contradicting yourself quite often. Or is how I'm gonna have to say that. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Obviously, because this video is really long, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with being gay, or bisexual, or trans, pan, or whatever. You get my drift. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. These individuals just want to live their lives like everyone else. They are just like everyone else. They breathe the same air. They walk the same land. They eat food. They drink water. They do the same kind of stuff like everyone else. They're no different than you or I. We live on one planet, and this is how we're treating each other. The world is big enough for all of us. You have to get comfortable with that notion. Because, whether you want to accept it or not, gay people have been around for ages. It's not a new phenomenon that suddenly sprung up out of the blue, like many of you Christians seem to believe. This has been around for a long time, is around now, and it's going to be around even longer than you ever live. It'll be after you die as well. It will be around after your own death. So anyway, if you want to live on a positive note, just be yourself, folks. Don't pay attention to these morons. As always, thanks for watching, and take care. Until next time.